Welcome to the group project of data manipulation of fall 2023. We are group 6 representing the project title data manipulation in PivotTable in Excel. So I have data downloaded from the Kaggle. You can download the data easily from the Kaggle, and this is the data that I download from Kaggle. So right now I'm gonna create a pivot table. I'm going to create a pivot table. So what is pivot table? Pivot tables are powerful features in Microsoft Excel that allows you to extract insight from larger dataset like this. This is the dataset, like you can extract many more insight from pattern, trends, etc. So here I'm showing how to create a pivot table. So go to the insert tab in the left corner. So you can select pivot table and a dialog box will pop up. I'm gonna ask you few questions like select a table, and it automatically select by default. It will select the available data on the worksheet, and it will ask you like what you want to create, like a new pivot table or in existing pivot table. Here in this case I will use new worksheet. Click OK, and Microsoft Excel will create a new blank pivot table. It look like this. After the pivot table is created, you can drag and sort list change from more calculation of the data. So here I'm going to show some properties and features of pivot table. Here you can pivot chart, and it tools like extract insight from larger data set. It helps in data visualization, like you can see column, line, pie chart, bar chart, maps, stocks, and many more visualization tools. You can insert a slide timer, timelines, filter connections, etc. What is help to make relationship between pivot tables? You can, if you want to refresh the pivot table from the original data, then just need to have a refresh. Just click it and it will refresh the pivot data fields. And if you want to change the source from where the fields are filled, you can change this data source from here, and you can move the tables. And this is the field. You will calculate fields like this, and you have a field list. This is the field list. If you click, if it appear, and if you unclick it, it will disappear. Here I will keep it remain. I will introduce two hidden buttons, so it's also field header. So now I'll show you how to do group column in pivot table. So first of all, I want to inform you it is the latest version of Microsoft Excel, so it will group like this. You will see like January, January 8th, January 15th, and January 22. I'm gonna compare amount, but if you are using an older version, then it will like this. So how we can know how to group this one? Just click the data, right click the click group. I will group the data and the months. You can also group quarters, minutes, and click OK, and it will group automatically. Just collapse the data.
So I have collapsed all the fields. So if you hit enter, it's gonna show you like this. So this is like this. But if you want to show this report in the format of table like structure, just go to design here. It's in the upper sections. Go to report layout and show in tabular format. Like if you expand this January, it will show the date and total amount. If you want the grand totals to be hidden from the column, then just do not show soft do not show subtotals. Like you can see, this is how it look like.
Now, let's see how to do the conditional formatting for the pivot tables. You can select the data fields first and then go to home. Under the styles, you can see conditional formatting. Go to the data bars. If you want the data bars, you can see gradient fill, solid fill. You can select whichever one you want, or else you can also select the icon sets. You have directional shapes, indicators, etc. Right now I'll go with the data bars and I'm selecting the solid fills. You can also modify this, so you can just go to the roles manager and select the data bar, and you can see different filters. You can, right now let me just change the color. You can choose the color you want and hit OK. So you can see that the data bars
And I forgot to tell you what are these.
changed.
These are the report. These are the fields, report filters in the pivot table. So what's their function? Like it, I already told you about pivot table. Pivot table helps us to drag, filter, sort data, and take insights from the data. And I call them the pillars of pivot table. I call them pillars: filters, columns, rows, and values. And what they do is values. It is, I already, there is one calculation. We have done a sum of amount. That means we it helps to do calculation, right? And columns, it is so report in horizontal mode. Similarly, rows helps to in so report in vertical mode. Name reflects itself. A report filter, it is used to filter the specific reports and filters the data. They are the fields. You just need to have a drag drop. Okay. So I'm gonna show you how to duplicate a pivot table. First of all, you need to make sure that no two pivot tables should uh, overlap each other, and so it will show an error. So for that, just copy the pivot table, select another area. So I have already duplicated the pivot table, and I showed you how to duplicate the pivot table. And we compare other. Now I will make another. I will try to make another insights. I will go with the sales representative, number of units, and amount. Like how many units Omar sold, and 852, and what is the worth of 852, this sum of amount. So I got this result, and I want to calculate, I want to calculate total sum of the amounts, right? So total sum of the amount is this. Again, I will just go, and how much headphone were sold, this. Okay, again I'm going to duplicate a pivot table, and how many phones, laptops, and sold. I want to make sure. Oh, so phones were sold for about 3,000, laptop 2,000, and headphones 14,000. So these are the minimum. Again, let us get one more data set. Sorry. So I want to have a product and the amount. So I want to find which city earned the most. City and the amount. City Bangalore. Category city, and number of units. Okay, now
The next part is data validation. Data validation is more commonly used in Excel in maintaining accuracy and consistency in spreadsheets. By setting criteria for cell entries, you can prevent errors and ensure standardized data. From our pivot table, we can make a drop-down list for the month of sales. So as you can see, you can make a list from the months that is provided from the data, and you're now restricted to the list that was included in the pivot table. And we can also incorporate the use of the lookup formula to make dashboards that only requires certain months and amounts to be displayed. We can use the lookup formula to see the total of the amount of sales for a particular month in our drop-down list. You can use the VLOOKUP formula, highlight the pivot table, check the columns used for reference, and since we need to get the exact match, pick false. You can now check the amount of sales per month. For example, for the month of February, and you can also change the month by picking another one on the drop down list, and the values for the lookup formula will update automatically. In Pivot Table, we can use this feature as an additional filter to have more control over the information displayed. We can also use sort and filter in Pivot Table. You can click the sort and filter button and you can sort the data from newest to oldest, oldest to newest, and you can also have more options like the top number of the list. Just enter the number of items that you want to see and press OK. There is also an option to sort the table by the other column displayed, like the sum of the amount for this example. Clearing the filters can be done by clicking the funnel button at the right side of the cell and clicking Clear Filters to see the entire table again. Pivot table and pivot charts go hand in hand for data visualization. There are a lot of types of charts to choose from, and they're available in Microsoft Excel. You can use whichever is more appropriate for the data type that you are analyzing. We can use bar graphs, and you can also change it to a stacked bar or other data types that you want to use. You can also use a pie chart. By incorporating pivot charts into our data analysis workflow, you can transform complex data sets into visually intuitive representations. Whether you're presenting to colleagues or stakeholders, pivot charts provide powerful tool to convey patterns and insight with ease. The next helpful feature of Excel can be used for pivot table is timeline. You can go to the Insert tab, pick the timeline in the filters, and this can be helpful for presentations and sharing to other users of the information, as it is easy to use since you just need to move the toggle and click the month, and the information presented will refresh to reflect the data in the tables or reports. By default, Only the table you click when you insert the timeline will change when you click and change the months. But you can connect multiple tables by using report connections function. Just find the report connections button on the timeline tab and all pivot tables in the sheet will appear. You can choose which tables to connect in the timeline. And once you click a month, the data in the connected tables will change to the data for the selected month. Like you can see,
And just side of timeline you can see a slicer. And I want to slice the data, means isolate the data with the using a category. We have a three category here, and I want to make this to 3 columns. I want to increase the width, make sort, and you can make design changes to designs from here. So if I use laptop, only this pivot table will be used. So for that, same, click the slider, go to report connections, and check all these pivot tables. Hit OK. Now if you want to see the data of February, like how many phones were sold, by whom, how, which product, which category, total category sales, total phones amount, this way you can extract the data with the help of slicer and a slider, which is called timeline. This is very easy. I'll show you how to edit or format those timelines and slicers. So for that, just click this and you click on the timeline. If you want to remove header, you can just uncheck it. Selection level, just uncheck it, but I want to keep those all. Same applies with the slicer. Just click the slicer, go to the slicer section, and just format it from here. You can have any designs you want. Now what I will teach here to you right now is to take data from the outer pivot table. Click OK, hit enter. OK, yeah, just now what we did is we pulled out data from the pivot table. Now what about the exterior working data sheets? Example, I have this data sheet and I want this pivot data to be here. Then what I would do is click equal, click enter. Yeah, and another option is write the worksheet name SHEET4 exclamation, and if I'm not wrong it's E17. It's E19. E19 sheet 2, enter. Yeah, we are able to extract data from the pivot table, and we can manipulate this data very easily in our visualizations. Thank you.